I don't believe sprint through the finish line. I'm really more, DJ, more around let's find a pace that we want to establish for 24, and let's find that pace now and run through the finish line, and that will set the pace for 24. Because I believe that if you pull off anything right now, you're going to lose momentum.
Skilling somebody up or getting skilled is one thing, right? But you have to have the right mindset. And it is a very scary trap if you're listening to a bunch of BS and then you're saying the words that now you're articulating the same BS, and then you believe that. That's where you're dead. You are dead at the beginning, right? I remember like playing football. My coach would always say before we left the locker room, he's like, if any of you think we're going to lose tonight, we've already lost. Yeah. And right. And anybody in that locker room that was talking negatively, they were looked at like a cancer, right? And you got to remove that. You need to believe it. And I think right now, a lot of people are afraid. So this is the biggest time where leaders stepping up to lead their teams and as individuals to know there's a path and know we're going to be fine. But you just said it too, like you got to really want it and want it more than ever. And you got to do the work.
Yeah, I'm curious for you when, like you said, you started seeking, and is it like was there a motive? I mean, other than, hey, I got to figure something out. That's not real estate. I mean, was that really the driving force?
Well, what really happened is from April to August, over that 5 months, I spent over $200,000 in cash on trying not to be a real estate agent. So I bet I put all my chips in on myself. Now, here's the other thing is I was willing to invest in myself and try to figure something out. I actually invested $160,000 in 2 different Amazon stores. And this was a whole program, like a done for you Amazon store. I met this crew that was like, look, we've had, I knew they had success on Amazon. And they're like, look, if you invest the money, we'll build everything. I thought win-win, right? I'll be the investor. They'll be the builders. We'll split profits. They were actually only looking for 30% of the profits, and I keep 70. And I thought, man, that's a killer deal.
Okay, well, what's the hook to get people's attention?
Yeah.
And for right now, you said the hook is don't wait. Right. So getting that out there, and then that's an example of a hook in getting that out there. Hey, don't wait. But then you got to be able to back it up with some stories and leverage the stories. Even if you don't have the stories, you can borrow stories from other people. And so, like, what are some of the stories that you're instilling into your team to have the conversations with the buyers and sellers that they're having right now?
It's funny. You must have been listening to our meeting today, right on our Zoom. And if anybody ever wants to join in on our meetings, we Zoom out. So we have a ton of people on there. I don't even know who's on the call half the time, but it's so funny. We just had the same conversation today. Is the best insurance salesperson is a life insurance salesperson is one that has a story. A story that resonates, that maybe he lost a friend at 30 years old that had a family. He didn't have life insurance, so it meant a lot to him. He owes it to share that story with everybody to help everybody not be in the same position his friends in.
Was there anything in the beginning for you that either Michael gave to you or Pops gave to you that you really kind of consumed that helped you start to understand, either marketing, foundation fundamentals or anything with Kern or anything that they really turned you on to that really started to shape your thinking and your mindset around marketing?
Man, I'll be honest with you, and this is just being transparent. I'm sure there's nothing that I can really put my finger on that I could say that this is what I would go consume. If I had to really think about it, I probably could come up with something that I consumed at that point. A lot of it, I'll be honest though with you, is that when I took that course, the things that I was learning in that course was already proven. And so it was things that I was applying, not even probably understanding the principles of it quite yet as I was applying it. But I think moving forward up into this point now, the biggest thing I'll tell you is that you have to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer, right? You have to understand what is the perception of the consumer that I'm marketing to, and what are the problems and things that they're facing, and how does my marketing speak to them and provide solutions for whatever it is that they're going through.
You know, one of the things that, I've always admired about you and the direction and with your business is you've always been very forward thinking, and you've also been really quick to move and make decisions. Like, you make decisions faster than most people. Before we really get into, the overall topic and theme of today's conversation, I would love for you to kind of share that, because there's just some wisdom in the way you think and the way you see things and what you pay attention to and how you make decisions that I know people listening to this conversation can really draw some value from.
For sure. Yeah. It wasn't always that way. And I am analytical in nature. So for me, to make quick decisions, I need information. I actually need data. I need research. As I bring it back to moments in time where I made those big decisions, now looking back, I can see, oh, wow, look at that moment.
Who you're sitting next to, and it's the imitate before you innovate. And I think too many real estate agents and the wannabe entrepreneur, or even the entrepreneurial bug, is that they want to try to innovate and they haven't imitated enough. And so that would be, kind of what I would challenge everybody. And it's a reminder even for myself, right? It's like, man, am I innovating or am I imitating? And maybe I haven't got to a point that produces the results for me to innovate just yet. So let's keep imitating. And I think that's just a great reminder for everybody listening in. Ask yourself, am I imitating or am I innovating in my agent attraction efforts?
A big thing for me as well, John, was, once I figured that stuff out for myself, making sure that the people in my organization was getting plugged in as well. Mm-hmm. So, just kind of, the Facebook group Agent Builders that, was created, like that was all based upon if we had a system or a process that was more locally that pretty much mimicked the honey badgers. So it's like, and on Agent Builders, I mean, if anybody, that's there that knows our group, all the trainings, or a lot of the training, not all of them, but a lot of the trainings that the honey badgers have, we're just redirecting people from Agent Builders to the honey. It's just leveraging.
And just really became like an extension of him and for sales and marketing for his product. But there's always an opportunity in any type of market. Is it that we just get so fixated, we're so into the forest that we can't step back and see? Is that what you've seen? Because I mean you do this day in and day out with so many agents. Is it their thinking that is the biggest constraint for them at the moment?
I think it's two things, John. And I do love this topic. What I think happens is this: we what I call it, or what we call it a clarity break, right? I need to back up and just relook at this thing, because if you can just back up, turn around, walk back 10 feet, and then look at the board from there, you start to see the entire board, like you said, right? What is the biggest thing that we have a problem in? And I'll use this, and I know this applies to a lot of women, but it applies to a lot of guys the same. What happens is we all have that magnified mirror at home when we're doing our makeup mirrors or grooming mirrors or whatever have you, right? And what does it do? It takes 100-time, extension of your face, or multiplies it by 10 or 20 or 100. Well, when you look at something that close, you see every possible flaw in it. But if you backed up or just flip the mirror over to the other side that's just normal, it pushes you back that clarity, that 3 feet, like your hands, John, like you use that example. I can see that I don't have a blemish. I don't have a fault that can be seen. But if I magnetize times 100, sure, I can pick myself apart all day, and then you get paralyzed there. Oh my God, look at this. No one can see that. Nobody who's not up here with a magnifying glass can see that.
So for you, in that seat with these two dysfunctional brothers and really, kind of figuring it out and creating a way to get the work done, where did that kind of transition for you to kind of step out and like do your own thing?
Yeah, so there were several things kind of going on where I had gone and heard at the EOS conference, I heard Gino Wickman speak the first year that he kind of launched his thought process around the EOS life. And the EOS life tenets are that you're doing what you love with the people you love, being compensated appropriately, making a significant difference with time for other passions. So even if you just feel that for a moment, right, you can think, am I living that right now? Is my current environment, is where I'm at and what I'm doing, like ticking those boxes? And if not, then that can be some of your disconnect.
The biggest thing that I see is that it's going to collapse time. It's going to allow you to go faster. It's going to, especially on the marketing side of things, where I think this is going to be game changer, is that if you step back and you think of the old school marketing direct response techniques, is that, it was test it. Where I'm starting to see is that you can find out the test results in a matter of seconds than a matter of weeks and months, and just the dollars to learn to get the testing, the results back. You can find out in seconds of what it's going to be. And so that like kind of just opens my mind up on the marketing side of things. Like, holy shit, how fast can you go, right? In getting a direct the right market to message to market match.
Well, it's kind of like, when you go to the store and you see all natural eggs, you're like, okay, what the heck are unnatural eggs, right? Like, aren't all eggs natural, right? But people use it as a marketing term because you're like, oh, well, natural eggs taste better. So I'll pay the 30 cents, right? And so AI is being used because the definition of AI is very broad. It's very broad. So AI is essentially any system that is going to leverage human capacities for learning, and it's going to spit out something that is at a level of complexity that supersedes our own ability. Right? So any type of computer calculation or system that's going to leverage that and do something at a complexity level that supersedes our own human brain, that is what is being considered AI.
So Gogo, as we wrap up here, I mean, I appreciate you. There's a reason why our episode last year was the #1 expert mentors for 2022, and what a way to kick this year off. And I know this one's going to be no different. Any final thoughts, parting words as we wrap up this conversation?
Yeah. Right. So I think it's very important to get back to the basics. Social media, you should know it by now. It is not brain surgery. If you feel like you haven't figured it out, then sit on the couch, put it in your calendar, Instagram for an hour, and get your device. Actually, I have two. Get one of them, right? Get your device and literally go on Instagram and push a button.